I feel like I need to get this out because I've been holding it in for months now, and it's eating me alive. My whole life I've been the type of person who tries to trust my family first and foremost. I've always believed that if you can't trust your own family, who can you trust? That belief has been shattered this year in a way I didn't expect. It all started with the house, which is supposed to be the kind of milestone moment you celebrate. Instead, it turned into one of the most stressful and humiliating experiences of my life. I had been saving for years to buy a place of my own. I'm in my 30s, single, and I've been renting forever. My job doesn't pay crazy money, but I'm responsible. I don't waste a lot, and I'd managed to put aside enough for a decent down payment. For me, owning a home meant stability and security. I wanted a space that was mine where I didn't have to worry about landlords raising rent or random inspections. It was a huge deal, and I was proud of myself for finally being in a position to even start looking. My brother is a realtor. He's been in the business for over a decade, and he's always the guy in the family who brags about closing deals and helping people find their forever home. Because of that, when I started looking for houses, it felt obvious to go through him. I thought having family involved would make the process safer and smoother. Plus, my mom was thrilled about it. She kept saying how lucky I was to have a brother in the business because he'd look out for me and make sure I got the best deal possible. She made it sound like a blessing. We started touring houses earlier this year, and the market in my area has been insane. Every decent house was getting snapped up so fast, and my brother kept telling me not to wait around too long because opportunities would vanish overnight. After a few weeks, he showed me a house in a neighborhood I liked. It wasn't perfect, but it checked a lot of boxes. It had a yard, it was close to work, and it wasn't far from my mom's place either. The price was lower than I expected given the area, and I remember saying something like, "Is there a catch?" My brother laughed and told me it was a steal, that sometimes sellers just need to move quickly, and you get lucky. My mom backed him up immediately. She walked through the house with me, pointing at the living room and saying how cozy it would be when I decorated it, how the kitchen was perfect for family dinners, how I could finally host Thanksgiving instead of cramming everyone into her dining room. She was so enthusiastic, it was contagious. I started to imagine my life there, and it felt exciting. I asked my brother straight up if there were any issues I should know about, and he told me no. He said the inspection had come back fine, and there were no red flags. He repeated again that it was a steal and that I'd regret it if I passed. I trusted them. I trusted my family. I signed the papers, handed over the down payment I'd been saving for years, and the house was mine. The day I moved in, I felt this wave of accomplishment wash over me. I remember sitting on the floor of the empty living room, eating takeout, and thinking this was the start of something good. That feeling lasted less than 24 hours. The next morning it rained. Not even some freak storm, just regular rain. Within an hour, the basement started filling up with water. At first it was just damp around the edges, then puddles, and by the afternoon it was an outright flood. I panicked. I had never dealt with anything like that before. I was running around with buckets and towels like some kind of cartoon character, completely overwhelmed. I ended up calling a company to pump the water out, and they charged me more than I had in my emergency fund. The whole day I felt sick to my stomach watching this brand new chapter of my life literally fill with dirty water. When I called my brother, I expected him to be shocked, maybe even apologetic. Instead, he was weirdly calm. He said, "Well, basements flood sometimes. It's just part of homeownership." I told him this wasn't a little leak, it was a disaster. He kept brushing me off, telling me not to overreact, that I should just get a sump pump installed, and it would be fine. My mom echoed him almost word for word. She said, "Honey, every house has problems, you'll figure it out." I couldn't believe how casual they were being about it. It wasn't just some problem to figure out, it was thousands of dollars and a house I'd just bought that was now clearly compromised. A few days later, I hired an independent inspector because I needed answers. That's when I found out the truth. The house had a long history of flooding. The previous owner had even filed insurance claims multiple times. There were patched-up spots along the basement walls where water damage had been covered instead of properly fixed. It wasn't something new or a fluke. It was an ongoing problem, and my brother had to have known. He's been in the business too long not to recognize the signs, and he was the one who represented me in the deal. He didn't just fail to protect me, he actively withheld the truth. When I confronted him with the report, he got defensive. He said things like, "Well, you wanted to move fast, and there's no such thing as a perfect house." I told him it wasn't about perfection, it was about honesty, and he had lied to me. My mom stepped in again, this time to defend him. She said he didn't lie, he just didn't want me to miss out on a good opportunity. She even tried to guilt me by saying I should be grateful I could even afford a home at all, that so many people never get that chance. That hurt more than I can explain. Instead of standing by me, she was choosing to minimize what happened because my brother was the one at fault. Now I'm stuck in a house that feels more like a trap than a home. Every time it rains, I'm anxious. I've already spent more money than I ever planned on repairs, and I know it's just the beginning. The financial hit is one thing, but the betrayal is worse. I feel like my mom and brother teamed up to push me into something they knew was going to be a nightmare, just so he could make a commission and she could brag that her kids were homeowners. It makes me question everything about how much they actually value me versus what I can do for their image. I've stopped talking to my brother altogether. With my mom, it's harder. She calls and acts like nothing happened, like we can just move on, but I can't. There's this wall between us now because I know she put loyalty to him over fairness to me. I've even started avoiding family gatherings because I don't want to sit across from them and pretend everything is okay. The sad part is I miss them, but I don't miss feeling like a fool. I don't know how to move forward. Part of me wants to try legal action, but I also know that means going against my own brother in a way that would make the family rift permanent. Another part of me thinks I should just cut my losses, sell the place, and start over, even if it means admitting I made a huge mistake. What I do know is that the dream of buying a home, which was supposed to be this beautiful step in my life, has been completely poisoned. I don't look at the house with pride anymore. I look at it and see betrayal, stress, and the reminder that trusting the people closest to me ended up costing me everything I worked for. Maybe someday I'll laugh about it, or maybe I'll see it as a lesson about boundaries and blind trust. Right now, though, it just feels heavy.